Major spoilers ahead.
Goodbye, Father. To hell with this place. Fishies. Fish. That's one more fish for me.
Next time I shall expect better results from you.
Damn it. I'm home.
Hades is a unique game that tickled my fancy the moment I laid eyes on it, but at times could yank it. No! Bend me over and show me its Stygian blade. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad it does. I didn't even know what this game was until 3 weeks ago when a friend of mine told me about it offhandedly. It wasn't even a blip or name that I had even known until then, which is the biggest injustice this game has offered me. Hades is a truly unique experience, something its developers seem to have a knack for making. My expectations were blown away, in the same way that my childhood was blown away when I got my first electricity bill. Thanks Zeus, you fucking asshole. All that lightning and now I have to pay for it. Hades is the type of game that comes by once in a long time. It barely fits into a genre other than roguelite, and I've often described its gameplay as a more faster-paced Diablo than a Risk of Rain, Binding of Isaac, or even Dead Cells. Hades is not a roguelike, it is a roguelite. Keyword on the light here. When you die, and you will die.
Oh, fuck off.
You'll always wake up in the life juice pool. Of that there is no doubt, but unlike other roguelikes, this game has features and mechanics in place that prevent it from ever fully committing to the go die or go home playstyle of real manly tear-jerking roguelikes such as Risk of Rain 2, i.e. whenever I die an hour in, I cry. There's story-driven catch-up mechanics that aid you in every subsequent escape attempt, as well as a real end to the run. Unlike Risk of Rain 2, once again, in Hades when you win, that's it, run over. And that's not a bad thing by any means. Having a clear goal is amazing for a game like Hades. Sure, I didn't put as much time into Hades as I did with Risk of Rain 2, but there is a very clear distinction to be made about the game. Hades as an entire package from all of its elements is truly something special, something worth remembering. And Risk of Rain is surely a game that I'll visit for years to come, but for different reasons. Hades' music, characters, story, and gameplay is something that other roguelikes simply cannot compare to. Not that other roguelikes are lacking, I only think that after playing 60 hours of Hades that this game has provided me with a feeling of being something different, something special, something that I'll never forget for many aspects.
Bone Hydra. Can I call you Bone Hydra? Lerny, maybe? Lerny, I like that.
Shit. You're dead. Holy fuck. We annihilated that. Lerny Lerny vanquished.
Although its gameplay is amazing, I don't think it stacks up to some others. But the rest of it, fuck. You had my emotions, but now you had my investment. So what is Hades? And why am I filleting it so hard? Well, in Hades, you play as a teenager with not only mummy, but also daddy issues.
killing one another as our lot.
That's right, you start the game double dipping in teen angst, and you explore this newfound phase by sticking it to the man, or in this case your father, the literal god of the dead, and everyone who will soon join him.
Utterly ignoble end, even for you.
Including me as I rack my brains with this script.
Oh, fuck. Is that the right level of suicide joke?
So, as the prince of all dead people, you will go on a mean streak of breaking dearest papa's things and ruining his house by re-murdering and twice killing again the denizens of hell, on your quest to leave this bleak place and make your way to greener pastures. Literally. Like any angst wielder below the age of 20, you have no sense of responsibility of your actions until Daddy Dearest appears to give you an ass whooping so bad, you literally reincarnated so he could do it again to you. Verbally.
Ah, for shame, boy. I thought perhaps you'd finally made it out.
Best disappointed dad ever, 10 out of 10. In essence, you're breaking out of hell. You don't like it there, and the gods of Olympus in all their debauchery are all too happy to get you out of there and in on the action. But first, you have to actually escape hell. Good fucking luck with that one. You've got 5 different weapons, and 1 piece of shit, as well as many different branching paths to take them on your way to the surface. What aspect do you choose? What will aid you? What will the gods grant you? Do they even know what is going on around here? Why does your dad seem so intent on keeping you here? What is everybody constantly warning me for? What is waiting for me on the surface? What am I going to ruin, Dad? Story aside for now, the combat in Hades is beautiful. At times it can be like a flowing dance, and at other times you'll quickly realize that the fucking bow isn't a real weapon. Combat is simple. Enter a room, kill literally everything, and go to the next room with some kind of reward being given to you each time. The reward might affect the run you're in, or it might help you outside the run. But no matter what happens, you'll always need to build to your strengths. The gods are all too happy to give you their boons, for better or worse. Sometimes you'll enter a room and be in sheer awe of how godlike you've almost become. And then at other times you'll simply be made aware of the likelihood of your own very inevitable demise as the shades of hell roast you on a grill above the River Flagathon. And once you finally die, you'll do it again.
Do your worst, Father.
The boons from the gods of Olympus grant you bonuses to many of your different ways of re-dealing death to the dead. But none of that will matter if you can't make them synergize and work together. You'll eventually familiarize yourself with the many boons and almost not boons that the gods and hammers can grant you, and be able to theorycraft a sort of guideline for the course you're on before you even embark on it. All of the weapons feel amazing and strike me as tailor-made to make me release dopamine when using them. Each weapon plays differently, and then their aspects which alter the weapon's function will change them up again. Especially the hidden aspects once you unlock them.
Yes, I see your kingly pardon from a prison of stone. A future aspect. What sort of name is Arthur?
One thing that remains consistent across the board is that each weapon will have an attack and special ability. You can also dodge and throw a cast, which is a little shitty ranged attack that can be built around for some solid power and killing potential. Those 5 things never change, and the bonuses that gods give you will either apply directly to one of these abilities or aid the boon that's already on it. Most of the gods can even synergize together to create duo boons, which range from mediocre to mandatory. Being successful in higher difficulties almost requires a sense of, what am I looking for in this run? And what am I going to do? If you want to be able to even face the Lord of all Deceased at the end, let alone beat all the difficult and interesting bosses that come before him. The story is amazing, making me care eventually about characters that were all too happy to insult me, sarcastically, directly, indirectly, and post-mortemly. Yes, I did just invent that word. Quite literally, every character at least got me to care about them, to an extent. Except for you.
Know your fucking place, trash!
And that's no small feat. The game is able to provide just enough interaction between each run to slowly but surely build a rapport with these individuals. It's amazing just how much voiced dialogue there is. Like most real-life situations, if you want a character to like you more, you can bribe them with alcohol to get them talking. My personal favorite character is, I'm gonna need a minute. The plot is interesting, it's dynamic, and it changes with each victory or failure. There is no branching paths, just setbacks along the road that Hades as a game has presented. The game's story is showcased almost in time with your progression. If you give away every nectar you'll get from a run, you'll often have seen most of what each of these characters can offer by the end of the game's actual gameplay. It's because of this that I feel the distinction between roguelike and roguelite has been so stark. For those of you who intend to go into this, consider the game in the same vein as a linear one, but a very well told of one. It's not a roguelike because at no point does everything reset to zero. In fact, the story and gameplay is built around you being an immortal god reincarnating to fight every single time.
Fuck.
Instead, it's a more tailor-made experience you're trying to achieve, using the keepsake system by bribing the various characters in the game so you can earn knickknacks and random items of dubious nature in order to guide your run down the path of your choosing. This choice comes at the cost of limiting the potential roguelikeness of the experience as a whole, but I'm okay with that. The game does an amazing job of having a beginning and an end, and a clear one at that. Like AAA games, you have a clear start and finish. Completionists will have more in store for them after. That part is normal, but Hades' endgame does quite well at reselling its own replayability. There's so much in store from the levels you've already bested to the story you think you've already explored by simply upping the difficulty and continuing. So, the story gets a pretty fucking solid rating from me. Made me love the characters and gave me lots of rewards and outcomes by pursuing all of the characters' post-endgame paths. Each one is unique and had some interesting dialogue to offer. Thanatos is best boy, by the way. Cease your comparisons. I hope that one day I can voice a character like this.
Don't think you can run, fool. I know you better than anyone.
Now, it's time to talk about the incredibly well-detailed Hierophant in the room. The art and music, the visuals in Hades are incredible. It's the perfect visual joyride our game needed to portray our Olympian-aligned runaway. Everything is clear and stands out. There are times when I can't tell what the hell is happening due to the effects, but it does at least look as intense as it feels. The music bringing up the rear with its actually diverse soundtrack is downright goddamn mystifying. One minute you'll be murderizing shades to music that at times does Doom better than Doom. And next, you'll hear the beautiful somber music of the game's two muses who each have their own intertwined stories. The music in this game sits next to Ori and the Will of the Wisps on a shelf I call, one of these better win a goddamn award this year. Criticism. There's not too much. The only gripes I have is that sometimes I've encountered a boss skipping its telegraphing animations to damage me. And then there's also one enemy that almost has no animations at all. It just gets in your face and does damage to you. Because of its lack of animations at times, it can hurt you through attacks that you've been trained to use to stunlock enemies. All in all, Hades is a game that should not be slept on. It has been a joyride from start to finish. I got 60 hours of fun from the game, and many songs that I simply will never forget. Like Ori, Deep Rock, and Risk of Rain 2, this is a game I believe everyone should play. Just go in expecting a linear experience from beginning to end. It's not something to be played eternally unless you're a speedrunner. If you like this, please, for the love of God, like it. It helps me promote the video in the algorithm. Also, leave a comment telling me how much my stream sucks too if you like. Speaking of, you can find me over at twitch.tv/flexoffunk.
Thanks again for watching. I'm going to leave you with pretty much my favorite song from this game. See ya.
I thought I'd lost even the gift of music, Zagreus. So thanks again for helping find that one for me.
Cheers.